In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful, I am very grateful for witnessing the week of unity in Mariapolis Piero. This is the fourth time our brothers from Com come to Mariapolis Piero after Tangaza program. Because from the second year of Tangaza program, we managed to add this part. Initially was for 2-3 days, then became 3-4 days, and now we have almost a whole week. And also we have some of our sisters who have taken part in the second meeting of the Shia sisters and Benedictine sisters. And we have also my dear Focolare brothers and sisters that either they are from Kenya or have come from other countries. In particular, Carlo, Roberto, and I think Feridiana must also be there from Uganda. And also other brothers and sisters in God, in Christianity and Islam, who have come for Week of Unity to Mariapolis Piero. I know some of the participants of Tangaza course also are there. I would like to thank Father Joseph and Amata, and I forgot the name of the male responsible of Mariapolis Piero, and all of you who worked hard to prepare for having Week of Unity this year in Mariapolis Piero. I was very much hoping to meet you, and unfortunately it was not possible. Even I am still open to coming, if God wants, for 1 day, 2 days to be with you. But so far it doesn't look like. I am like a nurses and doctors on duty 24 hours, 7 days a week. And this is now the 6th week that I am here. But I hope my love for you and the suffering of my family would play a little contribution to the success of Week of Unity. And I thank you all very much for your prayers, which really gives us energy and more hope. I am supposed to talk about my history with Focolare movement. But since this is an ongoing experience, it's very difficult to describe it. You know, when something is finished and completed, you can describe it better. When something is ongoing and evolving and growing, it's very difficult to understand, let alone describe. So even if it's now about maybe 27 years of knowing Focolare, but still I myself need to digest and understand the nature and the potentials of this relation. So I cannot say, okay, I can talk about the past and I cannot talk about future. The reality is that I cannot even talk about the past completely unless I go to future and look back. So I share with you that much that I have understood so far, but with very, of course, limited time. But before I go, can you really follow me, or the echo is too much? So you understand what I am saying? Okay. Of course, some of you even understand me if I don't talk, but for the people who are new, so I hope they can at least find my words clear. To make it very brief, I first came to know about Focolare through a friend of my wife, Shahzad, who was in Italy, but before that she was in Qom for some years studying in the seminary for women, and she had told my wife, and I had heard about Focolare, but I didn't have any contact with them. When we went to Manchester for my PhD, then we wanted to know more about Christianity as lived and practiced. We asked Shahzad that we have difficulty in connecting to local Christians because we are new there. At that time, there were not many initiatives for interreligious dialogue. And also, it's very secular society. Although there are Christians, there are other faith people, but in large, the society in UK is very secular. So we were able to get in touch with Focolare in the UK, and the very first one who visited us in Manchester was Marite, a Korean Focolarina from Liverpool. At that time she used to be in Liverpool, she's now in London. And she visited us. This is the first time we had a Christian guest in our house, and we had very good session, very friendly. And then she told us that there would be a day meeting organized by Focolare at the University of Hope in Liverpool. We took part as family in that day meeting. It was very nice, very much energizing and empowering us, because we felt away from our religious community. Although in Manchester we had, sizable Shia community, but we are in a secular society. We were away from especially spirituality of Qom. But in that day meeting, we were very amazed of people talking about God openly, without shying, and expressing their love for God, for unity, very open to us, very respectful, and we very much enjoyed. And my wife was, many times in tears out of her joy. I was sitting next to a priest and a Benedictine monk and a friend of Focolare, or you can say a member of Focolare. He was a priest, but he was very close to Focolare, Father Jonathan Cotton. And this is the first time I am sitting next to a priest and monk and, talking just, as friends. I never had experience of talking to priests before that. But there was no sense of dislike or suspicion or, worries or concerns, thanks to God. Nothing among us was keeping us divided. We felt very close to each other. And I am very thankful for Father Jonathan, who has passed away a few months ago. And I have mentioned his name many, many times because he was one of the first people who helped me in this path. I told him, I come from a seminary background and I love to visit Christian seminaries. Is it possible? And then he suggested to visit Ampleforth Abbey, which is the place for formation of the monks, host for the largest monastic community in the UK. It's not a seminary, but a place for formation of monks. He himself was a member of that community, although he was a parish priest in Leyland, but he was a member of that community. So we went there, we slept overnight, so 2 days and 1 night. I very much enjoyed the spiritual atmosphere of monastery. I took part in their offices of prayers. I loved Gregorian chant. I had very good meeting with the Abbot Timothy Wright, the late Abbot Timothy Wright, with whom we started Catholic Shia dialogue. And anyway, with Father Jonathan, we kept in touch, but some years we didn't meet that much because he was in Leyland. But then after his retirement, he had sabbatical in Lopiano, and I am very grateful to God that we met at least in two rounds of Wings of Unity in Lopiano, and unfortunately soon after he was diagnosed with cancer and he passed away. But we had good time in Wings of Unity with Father Jonathan again. Then we started attending Mariapolis programs organized by Focolare in the UK. Some of you may know that sometimes we have permanent Mariapolis, like Mariapolis Piero. Sometimes there is temporary Mariapolis, like for example in summer for 5 days, 1 week, they used to get together in the UK. Now also they do, sometimes shorter, sometimes the same. So we were the first Muslim family, the only Muslim family in the first Mariapolis that we took part. Maybe it was 97, 98 in Lake District in Lancashire in the UK. And there were hundreds of Christian families, and we were the only Muslim family. Had a good friend of us, from Manchester visiting us. So we were only 2 families, but they were not always there. But we didn't feel anything, strange. We very much felt at home. We very much loved their programs, their prayers, and they were very respectful to us, very open to us. They never ever tried to have anything imposed on us. And they were always careful about arranging for us, for example, a place to pray. Everything was done with maximum respect from both sides. We also tried to be maximum, respectful. And after some Mariapolis that we took part, then the movement in 1999 had a convention for Muslims. They used to have every 3 years. So 99 was the first time I took part. At that time, Natalia and Perpetu, Roberto talked about Natalia. So they were responsible for Center for Interreligious Dialogue. And we met Chiara. Actually, we first met Chiara in St. Peter's Square before we met her in Castel Gandolfo. Because we stayed a few days in Rome, then we joined the program when the program started in Castel Gandolfo. So one day with Marite, we were in St. Peter's Square and we saw the car of Chiara is passing by because there was a synod of the bishops and Chiara was also invited. So we greeted Chiara, they stopped and we talked, and then we met her in Castel Gandolfo. Then we also took part in some of the programs organized by Vatican for the new millennium. We met the Pope, John Paul II. We went to Lopiano for a day visit. All the guests went there, few buses, but we had told in advance that we want to stay longer in Lopiano. So we stayed few nights in Lopiano and we really enjoyed. So this was 99. In 2000, I told Dimitri, Roberto mentioned Dimitri. Dimitri is a very good friend of mine, much older, much more experienced, much more knowledgeable than me, but he's a very good friend of mine. And one of the beautiful things these years were happening that, whenever I was in London, I was going from Iran, and I had lectures in universities, my Focolare friends used to come as sign of unity. For example, in 2006, 2007, I had my sabbatical in London. I was in Heathrow College. So whenever I was talking, in public, Dimitri was coming. Whenever we had Catholic Shia dialogue, some of Focolare were coming. Either Frank was coming or Dimitri was coming. So we had all these relations. Even I remember once I wanted to meet Dimitri, and I went about maybe 2-3 hours, and he came also down 2-3 hours. We met in a station, petrol station, and we had very nice time together and lunch together. So we use every opportunity to meet and talk. Then Dimitri moved to Rome. So in 2000, I went alone to Rome. And I asked Dimitri, please help me to know more about the movement and Catholicism. So we had very good meeting. The first time, for example, I met with people in Pontifical Council for Interreligious Dialogue was 2000. Of course, in 99, some of them came to Castel Gandolfo, but I visited them in 2000. The first time I visited PISAI, Pontifical Institute for Arabic and Studies, Islamic Studies, was in 2000 with Dimitri. The first time I went to Assisi, to Perugia, was with Dimitri, and then I myself went to Padua, stayed with Focolare there. So I don't know, it was a week or more, I spent time to know more. Then I came back to Iran, and of course my relation with the Benedictines continued, Catholic Shia dialogue. I don't talk about that now. The second thing that happened was 2002, again was another meeting of Muslim Friends of Movement. And with my wife, and I think the first time with children, this time only my wife and I, we took part in 2002 Muslim Convention. And Chiara, spoke to us, and we had, visits of different places. That was again amazing. Through Focolare, we met many Muslims from different countries, different backgrounds, but everyone who was there was happy for dialogue, was happy for, mutual understanding and love, etc. Then, in 2004, Chiara was supposed to visit UK, and that was actually her last visit. So there was a series of programs. One program was in the Methodist Church in London. And that is the place that actually some of the initial meetings of United Nations took form in London in that church. I remember 2,200 people were invited to the meeting that Chiara was supposed to be talking, and it was live broadcast. So there were two international guests. One lady from India was invited, and I as a Muslim was invited. I used to be in Iran. So they invited me. I went all the way from Iran to London for this talk and then went back. I remember I had a very difficult time because I had 7 minutes to talk. And I was thinking, what can I say in 7 minutes to be meaningful, to do justice? So I, worked on the text, read the text, took the time, but God helped me offer something. And thanks to God, later my Focolare friends told me that in addition to the immediate response, which was, mashallah, amazing, the way people showed, appreciation. But even afterwards, Focolare told me that, for example, some Sunni Muslims who were there, they said, we are not from the same denomination as Muhammad, but we accept whatever he said. And it was a very good meeting. So I thought maybe we can watch together what I said 20 years ago exactly. This was 2004. And if you notice, the person who introduces me 20 years ago, he says Muhammad is a long time friend of Focolare. So this is 20 years ago. So maybe in this talk, you can see some of the seeds of what developed later. I will refer actually to one sentence later. So if Sister Isra, you could start it.